Let me get caller area code 708. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Cheryl. I'm from Homewood, Illinois.
All right, Cheryl from Homewood, Illinois. What's on your mind?
I believe I was supposed to call in. I was, in reference to a comment I made about a statement that you made yesterday.
About a statement that I made yesterday. Okay, and what statement is that?
Well, a gentleman who was 72, he said he was 72, he called in and he was talking about, it just seemed like after you spoke to him, in general, you just went off on the elderly population among us again,
What did I say that was wrong? Okay, let me try this a different way. What did I say that was false?
It seemed like he seemed like a very genuine person. He seemed to me anyway. I mean, I don't know him or anything, but he sounded genuine, and like he was really very much appreciative of the work that you do, as am I. And then after he just expressed that sentiment, and then it seemed like after the conversation, after you finished talking to him, after you finished your statement, you started basically doing what you have a tendency at times to do, and that is to place the elders among us into one category.
Okay, well,
basically.
I don't think that's accurate either, but I want to make sure about something here, because the statement that you made, and y'all realize the same thing, folks. When you call folks to account, they never stand by what they actually said. They make up something different. I don't think I said anything directly to who's the 72-year-old that I talked to yesterday?
I don't recall what he said his name was. But
okay, now was that during a live program, or are you talking about a video that was recorded?
Yeah, it was yesterday live.
Okay, and what exactly did this 72-year-old gentleman say? Because I remember one guy. There was one guy that I talked to who was that age, and I didn't say anything that was critical of him. So you can't be you can't be referring to anything I said to him. You must be referring to something that I said later that was in no way connected to him. And yet you made a comment in the chat room claiming that it was.
Well, no, I didn't say it was. I felt like I just didn't understand why you couldn't have gone ahead and just thanked him for his comment and let it go at that, as opposed to going off again on people who are in his age range.
Okay, what did I say that was false? I'm waiting to hear the part about what I said. If you're going to take offense at something, just consider what type of character you have. Okay, slow down. Ma'am, the man is hosting his program. If you're going to make a comment in the chat room like you did, then at the very least, you need to start examining your character if you're going to raise that as a negative. So I'm asking, if you're raising it as a negative, what was it that was said that was false? Because if you got a problem with the truth, we have a different character flaw to deal with. So what was it that I said that was false? Just tell me what I said that was false. Just give me that.
I don't. In that particular, it seems like the elderly among us. It just seemed like you have a tendency to have just in general a negative opinion of them, of the seniors among us. And I realize that a lot of seniors are they really are, as you said, looking for just a quiet place to pass away, as you said. That there's a lot of truth in that, but there are quite a few elders who absolutely agree with what you're saying, and they're behind you 100%. That's all I'm saying.
Right, and here's the issue. Here's the thing I want to be clear about here. when it comes to me talking about tethers, and I've got a few in particular, that they listen to me and stuff like that. And sometimes they get in their feelings when we use that kind of language. One in particular is a bit of a screwball. I like her, but she's a bit of a screwball. But I like her anyway. But they tend to get sensitive about that. But here's the thing. My responsibility in hosting a forum like this, because I'm not a leader, but my responsibility in hosting a forum like this is that we have to be brutally honest. The only thing I have to do is make sure I'm not lying or saying a falsehood. Now, if I'm saying something that is factually accurate in its proper context, that is not being weaponized in a way of trying to harm somebody, then we have a responsibility to look at that. If I have looked at what's happened to us as a people and I've identified a specific area where there were individuals who weren't on their game, weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, we can't sit up here and say, oh, well, we're not going to talk about that because we need to spare our priority needs to be sparing their feelings. Now, there's where we've lost the plot as a people when our priority is no longer survival. Our priority is, oh, don't offend those folks over there, calling them out on their garbage. No, you can't correct somebody if you don't call them out on it.
I believe in calling people out when they're in the wrong. And I agree when you say that our survival is at stake here. And that's why I also said that there are a lot of our young people leave a lot to be desired these days.
Okay, but the problem is you have no control over that. Because here's my issue. Well, here's my issue. How old are you?
Well, do we have any control over any of it?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Actually, actually, we do. And I'm going to get to that. But first, how old are you, Cheryl?
I'm 62.
Okay. So your peers in that age group, you've had 4.5 decades. Those are the folks that you had the most influence over. That's the generation you're supposed to be most concerned about because you've had the most time with them. The quote, young people, they weren't even alive when you had the most experience and the most influence. They weren't even alive. So what you just did there is deflection. Once again, that's a dodging accountability mechanism. And this is why your generation couldn't get it together, because when it was time to become introspective, y'all start trying to dodge accountability and deflect instead of saying, wait a minute, the buck stops here.
Do you know how old I was when, I told you I was 62.
I'm about to say, you just told me you were 62 years old. So yes, I have a pretty good idea of
62.
Yeah, got a pretty good idea where your hallmarks in life.
What was I supposed to be doing? When Malcolm X was assassinated, I was 3 years old.
That's correct, ma'am, but that's correct.
I was 6 years old.
That's correct.
What was I supposed to be doing at 3 and 6?
But ma'am, that is correct. But by the time we get to the 80s, it's a different matter.
And what was I supposed to be doing then? By the time
the exact same thing that we're doing now.
Well, I was busy preparing for my own life.
There you go.
Graduated.
There you go.
Yes, that's right.
There it is.
That's right.
There it is.
Right. Not trying to save the world, trying to save myself.
There you go.
Because with no father, with a deceased father and a sick mother, I wasn't about to try. I was in no position to take on the world. I was too busy trying to take care of myself and my sick mom.
There it is.
And there you go. You're right.
There you go. There it is. And I am not going to practice I'm not going to practice the malfeasance of telling young people today to take into account the feelings of somebody who would respond like that. That's all.
Who was what?
I would not sit up here and do the betrayal of young people today to tell them to take into account the feelings of someone who would respond like that. That's the difference. I wouldn't do that. With all due respect, the way that response right there, that's the reason why I got to call it out in an uncompromising fashion. I've got to draw the line right where it is, because when folks start talking about they looking out for themselves when they are at the height of the prime of their health and prime of their youth, I don't want these young folk to follow that as an example, because we'll just end up where y'all did. And I don't want that.
And I don't want to end up. I wouldn't. I'm glad I'm not the way a lot of these young people are nowadays. I mean, you realize that I look around at I go to family gatherings. I look and I see younger people there, and I see them there with their significant others of different races and ethnic backgrounds, and they are slowly whiting us out.
Okay, who was their example? Who was their example that they learned from, Cheryl?
It certainly was. My husband's black.
That's interesting, but you already have admitted that. But you already admitted that. I wouldn't have it any other way. But you've already admitted, and by the way, you've demonstrated in the brief time that we've met you that you're also incredibly selfish. That's your primary characteristic that people identify.
No.
Yeah.
I am the mother of. I'm also the mother of a very sick child, sick daughter who was born with a heart condition, and she required a significant amount of care.
But that doesn't tell us about how you present to other people.
I don't know how I present to other people.
Yes, ma'am. Have you considered that you present to other people the way you have to us today, and we just met you?
How did I present?
You present as what you just said. I look out for me and I'm selfish. You look out for you and your kids. You look out for me and mine. That's how we just met you, and it's very obvious and clear to all of us that, she is as advertised.
I've done things that were to help others at times.
When it was to your convenience. Yeah, when it was to your convenience. Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Right.
And that's how you rationalize to yourself, I'm not as bad as these other folks.
Neglecting my family, neglecting my sick daughter, neglecting my sick mother. No.
So in other words, you didn't sacrifice. That's one of your core principles is you don't sacrifice.
No, I don't neglect.
No, ma'am, you don't sacrifice.
My family.
You don't sacrifice.
No, I don't. No, I don't neglect my family.
Do you think that Malcolm X would have been accused of neglecting his children with all the work he did and all the time he had to spend away from them?
He had his wife at home.
Okay, ma'am, second try here. As the father in the home, do you think that people accused him of neglecting his daughters with the tremendous amount of time that he spent away from them?
He had a wife at home.
Okay, but there's no replacement for a father.
If I could finish my statement.
But that's not answering the question. He's the father.
His kids were disabled either.
Ma'am, but as the father in the home, there is no substitute for a father. So third time, do you think that Malcolm X as a father was accused of neglecting his daughters because of the tremendous amount of time he spent away from them?
I've never heard anybody make an accusation like that against him.
And by the way, listen to what you said. Well, they had a mother at home, as if having a mother is a replacement for a father. Take a look at that attitude. There's no substitute for a father. They have a mama. Okay, there's no substitute for that.
You act like they were there alone, and there was nobody there to care for them.
Their father wasn't there a lot of time.
He was still being. I'm sure he was there quite often, and he was there for his children. I'm sure he was there for. He was there
except for the times he wasn't.
He had a devoted wife.
He was there except for the times that he wasn't, and the reason for that was because he was willing to sacrifice that.
Mm-hmm. Well. That's a sacrifice that he made.
And by the way, you say you had a husband, and you say you have a husband, correct? You say you have a husband, correct?
We do what we can in
this life. You say you have a husband, correct?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. So just like Malcolm, you had somebody else at home there too. So you weren't carrying that by yourself.
No, I wasn't carrying it alone.
Yeah, there you go.
But it was a lot to carry.
Okay, but you had help carrying it. So.
And he had to, and my husband had to go out and earn a living.
Okay, well, you had help. You had help carrying it.
Cared for our sick baby.
But you had help carrying it. So,
pardon me.
So you had help carrying it, yeah.
I had help, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Help. I had the help that I was supposed to have.
Exactly.
When I wasn't raised to give birth alone. And raise kids alone. I wasn't raised that way.
Okay.
So that's here
is the lesson that the baby boomer generation.
But they don't do that
okay, ma'am. Here is the lesson that the baby boomer generation, if they want to know why they are the least respected group of people ever, it is because in order for you to be respected by the next generation, you got to show your paperwork of what you've sacrificed for them. because respect is earned. It's not a gift that's just privileged and given to you at birth. And you ain't made no deposits.
That's true.
And you haven't made any deposits. True. So you can't talk on these young folk because you ain't deposited nothing.
Oh, I have.
Go find the young people to speak. Go find the young people you're not related to vouch for you.
Not only for my own kids, but there are things I've done for others as well.
But Cheryl, you don't even talk like somebody who's done that. Now you're trying to fabricate. Oh, I've done for other folks. You talk like what you said at the beginning, that you look out for yourself. You're centered on yourself, and you look out for what's important to you. And you don't sacrifice anything for anybody else.
No, I look out for myself and my family, and then I do what I can for other people as I'm able.
Then you need to just stand on that part and just understand that you don't have a place to talk on these young people.
There's a concern. Well, one thing I do feel I would like to say, if I may, in reference to the young people.
You have no standing.
The dominant society, if I can say it, I would like to make a statement. My concern about the dominant society is, my concern about our young people is that the dominant society is constantly throwing all sorts of advertisements. You know, if it's not printed media, then it's TV commercials, and then it's movies, and every which way they are always trying to make it seem as though you need to be with a white person in order to be happy.
Okay, well, ma'am, okay, you're worried about the wrong thing.
Like our young people are buying into that.
You're worried about the wrong. You're worried about the wrong thing, ma'am. You're worried about the wrong thing. You're worried about television, ma'am. Ma'am, calm yourself. Ma'am, calm yourself down. You are worried about the wrong thing. You are trying to criticize a group of people that you don't even have any credentials or any standing with. So you're worried about television when in reality, meanwhile, you're deflecting from the fact that, by the way, you ain't got no status. You have no status or standing among these young people, and you're trying to talk on them, and you have no standing. Why don't you fix your lack of standing and status, and then you can speak on their lives?
No, I just feel like they should. There are a lot of them who I know have other people who have. There are a lot of black men I know. There are some nice black women who like them.
Are they like? Are they like you?
Are they like me? Like me how? I don't understand what you mean.
Okay, if you can't answer that question, then you can't speak to their character or who they're available to. So, are they like you?
They want white people because they have been engineered as to.
Okay, the folks you just said are available for them. By the way, before you try to hold them up as options for people, are they like you?
And I don't know what you mean. They're like me. I mean, they seem to be nice people.
Okay, are they nice people like you?
They seem to be nice people. They don't have to be like me.
Okay, because
they don't necessarily have to be like me. Well, they don't have to have my personality.
Here's the issue.
They don't have to have my viewpoint on everything.
Here's the issue. If I'm talking to a congenitally selfish person, and that selfish person is telling me that they approve of somebody else, then I can only assume that other person you approve of is like you too. And that will make them undesirable. What I'm saying is the young folk that you're trying to vouch for right now say that they're available. You said they're nice people, but I'm like, if you approve of them, they're most likely like you, and that might be the reason these other folks are avoiding them.
Well, I don't know exactly what I'm not really understanding the point you're trying to make there. But
yeah, you do. You do. You get it.
Mind,
yeah, you do.
That
you get it.
I'm not vouching for other people's kids. I can only vouch for my own.
I know you do.
Mine.
I know you do.
And I know that mine know what's expected of
me, mine, me, my,
and they are, and I'm proud. I am. I'm proud.
I am.
They don't seem like I don't think they're going. I don't think they're going to disappoint me.
I don't think me. I think that says I, me, my, me won't disappoint me, my. I think that says it all. This has been a very illuminating phone call.
Well, Yeah, all I'm saying is I hate to see our people, our young people going, more and more of them seemingly going in the direction of other non-whites. I mean, excuse me, non-black.
And I hate to see the old folk who haven't contributed anything thinking that they have any standing to try to tell folks to please you or your sensibilities when all you did was run folk in a ditch.
No, not please me, but to not just white out the race. 100 years from now, there won't hardly be any of us in America. Won't be a foundational black America.
Well, there will be plenty of us. There will be plenty. Hopefully there'll be fewer coons. Hopefully there'll be fewer coons, but there'll be plenty of us.
I hope that too. I hope that there will be. I hope there will be no coons, and I hope that.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. You've gone on long enough. She's already made enough of an ass of herself. To my mods, you can go ahead and unblock her if you want to, since it took her forever to call in, by the way, if you can find her information, because she took entirely too long to call in. But yeah, these old folks call up here and whatnot and ain't got no damn standing. I've been doing this now going on 20 years. I'm going on half a century old my damn self. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody from the age of 9 to the age of 99. And I got standing. And yes, I still remember the young lady that I talked to who her dad had her call up and say that she wants to be a realtor. And I told her, if you call me back, and she lives in Houston, and I told her, if you call me back in a year, then I'm going to get you together with somebody who can help you get to the next level, even at your tender young age. Yes, folks, I still am waiting on that phone call when she gets to a year out. When we get to a year out, I'm still waiting for her to call me. I ain't passed that off to nobody else. I got literally hundreds of people who've gotten their CDLs, their IT certificates, their skilled trades, and a number of other things. I ain't just made it about me. I've earned my stripes to be able to talk on them because I'm down in the trenches with them. I'm looking at their lives. I call them out on their bull crap, but I ain't calling them out trying to pretend I'm up on some pedestal looking down at them. I'm down in the soil with them and saying, hey, you ain't up to code. And there's always some old niggas sitting up here trying to argue to get some respect they haven't earned. You supposed to be calling us up with your damn resume. Malcolm had his. Malcolm had his resume. Huey had his resume. Johnny Cochran had his resume. And they wasn't talking about me, I, myself. I mean, she just told on herself the whole damn time on the phone. I, me, my. And y'all saw I called it from the very beginning. I'm like, yeah, you're very self-centered there. You ain't got no standing to speak on these young folk. You don't have any standing to speak on them. You're delusional, and I would never try to influence them to listen to you. I want them to listen to folk who gonna go on the battlefield and sacrifice with them and sacrifice for them. That's what I've been talking about this whole time tonight. I want folk who gonna get out there and bleed for them. Gonna do without with them. Conor McGregor once said, yes, I said Conor McGregor, don't share a dinner table with somebody you wouldn't starve with. You got to earn the right to criticize these young people. You think just because you old and gray, you get to criticize them? You got to earn that right. If you got young folk in your family who do not value the black males or the black female example they grew up with, y'all need to take a look at that and say, where did we fail? What is it that they saw about us that they don't like? And I just told you what they don't like. They saw how criminally selfish you are, and they said, yeah, I ain't trying to do that. Let me go in another direction. And then got the nerve to sit up here and say, well, here's my critique for them. You ain't got no standing to critique them. You have no standing, no credentials. You haven't stored up any respect. You haven't earned any position to criticize them. Who are you? Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? You got to earn that. That's not something you get to tap dance around and sit up here and talk your way around. You have to earn that. If you're going to talk about the young folk here, you got to be out here and earn that. Everybody wants to sit here and talk about how wayward they are and this, that, and the other, like y'all was hitting out the damn park. There's the other thing right there. How the hell you going to talk about Gen Z like y'all was killing the game? You came up in the 80s. You were 20 years old in the 80s. Y'all throwing the crack epidemic, the bastard baby epidemic. By the way, these young kids today are having fewer bastard babies than you all were back then. There's the damn truth of it. They were having fewer bastard kids than they're having fewer bastard kids today than y'all. And quite frankly, all the other things too. Y'all talking, I can't have some old person calling me up acting like they was knocking out the damn park and they doing so great and so fine at it. We would have a solidified economic foundation if that was the damn case. No, you go back to the 80s, they tricked off the money, they smoked up the rocks with the money, bastard kids all over the damn place and whatnot, and the kids today are trying to put this mess back together as best they can with no example from you to follow. No, I'm never going to be down on these young folk like that. I've never been that way. In over 15 years of doing this, I was the guy who popularized telling the young folk, watch out for these old niggas. And she just showed you all again why I said that. I ain't doubling down. I'm not tripling down. I'm quadrupling down on it. I'm telling them to watch out for y'all. Y'all ain't got they back. When I said y'all walked off the field, that's what the hell I meant. It's about me. It's about what the car I'm driving, about me and mine. It's like, okay, just understand. You just forfeited any right to criticize them. You got no standing. None.